You're listening to the Lunchtime programme on News Talk 106 to 108. The text line, if you want to comment on anything you hear throughout the programme, is 53106. Now, we're going to take a long trip now. We're going to Canada, where we're joined by Eugene McMahon, who is 33 years of age, and he's a health and safety manager. He previously worked as a health and safety manager in this country and was involved in the construction industry. But about 2 or 3 years ago, he decided to basically take a hike and go somewhere else with his young family. Eugene, afternoon to you, or good morning your time. Tell us a bit about your background.
I'm from Limerick, Damien. I think you got the Canada side of things right there, where we came over about 3 years ago. When I was working in Limerick, in Ireland, it was a case of working in Galway, Clare and Limerick, and I'm married with a wife and 3-year-old girl and a 15-week-old boy, and we're pretty much stationed here in Sherwood Park in Edmonton, Alberta.
You know, you were working in Ireland in the building trade, and I think you saw the writing on the wall a bit, did you?
Yeah, what happened to us is we ended up on a 3-day week, and wasn't getting a lot of good signs from the media. So what we did was we started looking abroad, and you ended up with 2 choices: one for Qatar and one for PCL in Edmonton, Alberta. So for us, it was a no-brainer, and we chose Canada.
You're talking to us this morning or this afternoon on Skype. Did you locate the new opportunities on the computer?
Yeah, it was actually my wife. My wife applied for the job on the internet on Working In or something like that, and she applied for this job, and it was through an acquaintance I found the job in Qatar. But at the time, PCL weren't actually in Ireland. They were going to London for interviews. So flew over, met them in a hotel in Chelsea, had an interview in Kensington, and had an interview there. And pretty much 2-3 months after that, got moved over.
Did you need much courage to basically uproot from the Midwest? I suppose you were working and you were based in Limerick, and then go to a place like, I think you're now in Edmonton in Canada, which is, I suppose it's a city, but it's one of the rural cities in a sense of Canada. Is that right?
Yeah, I needed a lot of. It was a case of, I'd been unemployed at one stage in my life for almost 6 months, and I wasn't going to let it happen again. So to me, it was nothing to lose. Getting on the plane, oh yeah, you feel it on the plane. You're like, is this the right thing to be doing? I'm still in a 3-day week. Things might turn around, and I still hear a lot of people saying that. But in terms of coming to Edmonton and Alberta, I was lucky in one sense with PCL that they flew me out. As a part of my conditions, they flew me out to have a look around the place, see if I liked the place. They're very understanding the fact that I was coming to this place that no one really hears of. It's far from a rural town. I think it's about 1.2 million people here. But it is based really, about 4 or 5 hours away from the Rockies, and there is some pretty prairie landish areas around here. But it's 2 or 3 hours above Calgary, so that most people have heard of Calgary. So that gave us a level of comfort.
Now, you work for a company called PCL. The time you left Ireland, 2008, we had just come through the Celtic Tiger, and I suppose people were doing well and the taxes were reasonably low and tolerable in Ireland. We've had a lot of tax increases since then, and levies and so forth, and social charges and all kinds of things as the government tries to keep the budget on the go. What's it like in Canada financially for a young family? You have a wife and as you said, 2 young children, I think under the age of 4. Is it a good standard of living?
It's a great standard of living. And when we came here about almost 3 years ago, we arrived, and we were arriving in this place where everyone was saying that there's still a world recession on. And, the standard of living here is quite high to what we are used to. Everyone has 2 vehicles. That's a given. But then you see people with their snow skis and talking about their holidays to Mexico and their weekend breaks. The recession really didn't hit this province because it's an oil province.
And do you pay much income tax?
Yeah, taxes are higher, but not too much higher than Ireland. But what you actually get quite an amount for your taxes. I mean, there's a lot of parks, there's a lot of places for kids to play.
Good health system.
Yeah, very good, as we found out with our 15-week-old. Everything went very well. It's busy, but they have an aging population here, but yeah, it's good.
Eugene, I've been to the United States and North America a few times, and one thing that always struck me was the way the climate keeps changing. You can be in, freezing cold one week, and the next, suddenly the leaves are coming onto the trees, and you're in a beautiful climate. What's it like around there? You're in the middle of Canada, effectively, aren't you?
Yeah, we're in the freezer. Currently this morning today we were out at a corn maze show, and it was 30 degrees Celsius, beautiful. But we know in 6 months' time it could be minus 30 or minus 40 under. In fact, one day I work at the Edmonton International Airport project, it was minus 49 Celsius one morning, which is
That's
hard to comprehend.
astonishing. And can an Irish person cope with that easily? I mean, your system, your lungs, and all that.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that was said to me in my interview, which I didn't believe at the time, was it's a different kind of cold. It's a different kind of cold, and life changes to suit it. You can buy, in terms of driving, everyone's first question is, how do you drive in that? You take your time and you get some decent tires, and it works very well. It's a good concept, and in terms of lifestyle, you learn to ski. You go do winter sports all the time. A very active nation here, and they adapt very well to it. And then there's the clothing side of things. Clothing is pretty cheap here, and you can buy generally very good clothing for pretty cheap, which will help you deal with the climate. Shoveling the snow in the driveway is a bit of an odd one, I can tell you. I had my mother-in-law doing it with me this Christmas. So
Really?
that was odd.
And
Oh yeah.
she's an Irish woman, I presume, yeah?
Oh
She'd come
yeah.
out to visit you and she got out and shoveled the snow. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
all,
A
it's
great
all part
woman.
of the lifestyle, and you can adapt fairly quickly, you think.
Oh yeah. Well, there's the biggest change for us was a social change. Humor, sarcasm, things like that are not understood as well, I should say, as maybe other parts of the world. But you have you do have quite a few Irish people here and that breaks a lot of barriers for you. But when you are looking at a group of people and you're saying something and you use a bit of sarcasm, you can see it in their face sometimes that you've lost them,
Yeah,
and you just have to learn to rephrase.
it's part of Canada. I don't think, like, the Irish raucous drinking culture wouldn't go down too well down in that way, would it?
Um, well, it would go down pretty well actually. It's a very social place. It's there's something here for everyone. I mean, it's for young people, it's for older people. I know we came over in a group of four Irish people who we range anywhere from my own age up to the 50s, and it's it it suits all of our lifestyles. It's such a big and diverse place. They're used to all the different cultures here, and they you can have your evening out on the deck, or you can go as crazy as you want in the inner city. It's not like a rural, um, you know, s- hay blowing down the street sort of place. It's very lively.
This is News Talk 106 to 108. I'm talking to Eugene McMahon, who's 33, and he's a health and safety management professional, and he's basically based now in Edmonton in Canada. Would you urge more Irish young people and young families to take the same route you've taken? Because it seems to be a very popular destination.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things. I mean, you're talking about a lifestyle very similar to the US in a lot of ways. You're talking about, the language, no language barrier. You're talking about a place that, our education standards from Ireland seem to be very well accepted. I think we have a head start on a lot of places in the world at our current education levels, especially with the younger people. I think if anyone can get here, they should. I think waiting around for the inevitable is almost worse than the inevitable happening. And I think getting on the plane, as hard as it might be, is definitely the right answer for a lot of people.
Now, you mentioned about your mum-in-law paying you a visit and clearing the snow. How do you communicate with the people back home? Do you
By
use
Skype.
computers and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, Skype is a huge part of our lives, and it's changed. I think it's changed the way a lot of people have immigrated now because before you would, get in a plane and you speak to someone by phone. I know my own uncle lives in Australia, and we'd speak to him by phone a year or something like that, or at birthdays or whatever. We talk to my in-laws and my own father almost every day or every third day, or and you have a visual connection. So our 3-year-old came over here at the age of 7 months, but she knew everybody. So when we go home to visit, she does the whole running into the arms thing at the airport. She's grown such a relationship with them over Skype.
So she knows when she goes back to the Midwest of Ireland, she has a picture in her head already of the people that she's going to meet.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. She knows when you say it's your granny or you say it's your granddad. She knows exactly who it is, and she'll sing over Skype and everything. And it does make the whole thing a lot easier, I have to
It's a
say.
lot more bearable.
Oh
And
yeah, I mean,
do you think that in due course you'll return to Ireland?
I can't really see it happening, to be honest, because of the standard of life. We're currently relocating out to Nova Scotia. PCL are relocating me over there as I managed to get myself a little promotion, and
And what job will you have when you go to Nova Scotia?
I'm going to be the district safety manager for Atlantic Canada for PCL.
For Atlantic Canada. So already, in the space of just a couple of years, they've people you work for have said, you're a good guy. We're going to promote you and give you more opportunity.
Yeah, I think our type of personality, I think the way we interact with people, Irish people being very personable people generally, I think it goes down very well here combined with our education and experience. And you need the education to get your permits and your visas and so on to get into the
And
country. And
what about the work ethic of you and your colleagues? You have to put in the hours, I presume. You have to put in a very strong work performance.
you do. I mean, they're not a lazy people. You've got to get up. I mean, I'm up every day at 20 past 5 in the morning, and I'm starting work at 6:30, starting off with a meeting, and I'm finishing about 5 p.m. every day. And that's, that's they would almost expect that.
So you're
Um,
talking about an 11-hour day, effectively.
that's what I do. Generally, they'd expect you to show, well, your actual hours would be starting from 7 a.m. till about 4:30. But you work hard and they make you earn your money, but I can tell you it's
It's
it's easy.
reciprocated.
Yeah, it is. They like the company I'm with are very good. They look after me very well, and there's a great future. But they are going to Ireland very soon, so I think if anyone can see past the initial downside to getting up at 20 past 5 in the morning, you get used to it really quick. I mean, it's like 20 past 12 at home in the day in midday.
You've no regrets, essentially.
No, I couldn't have it all. I couldn't have it all, and I think it's only good for my kids' futures.
Eugene McMahon, thank you very much for joining us all the way from Edmonton in Canada. And best of luck to you when you get to Nova Scotia with your wife and your two young children. And I hope everything goes really well for you. And thanks for joining us here on News Talk. The text line, if you want to comment about what you've been hearing about one man and his family's experiences in Canada, it's 53106.